Tallstar's Revenge. Chapter 21. Tallpaw shivered. The wind which was whipping the moor carried the chill of coming leaf fall. While the clan moved restlessly around him, he stared across the valley towards the high stones. Below him, the trees in the fields had turned as molted as a tortoiseshell's pelt, with flashes of orange and gold among the fading green leaves. "Are you coming to say goodbye?" DawnStripe called to him above the noise of the wind. Tallpaw looked past her as the roses lined up along the ridge. They were leaving at last. In the 2 moons since Sandgrass's death, Tallpaw had hardly been able to bear looking at them, watching his clanmates treat them as nothing happened, as though Sandgrass were still alive. Soured every mouthful of prey. How could his clan be so unfeeling? "Come on," DawnStripe urged. "Tallstar expects WindClan apprentices to show courtesy to our guests." Tallpaw's tail twitched. "All right, I'm coming." He followed DawnStripe across the grass, passing Appledon and Hickory Nose. They had already said their farewells. Meadowslip had stayed in camp with their kids. The elders were touching noses at the roaches. Lily Whisker leaned forward and pressed her muzzle to Bess's. "Take care," she rasped. "I hope Leaf Bear treats you well." "Goodbye, Sparrow." Dawn Flamepelt dipped his head. Good hunting." Mole lifted his head. "Thanks for sharing your den." Lily Whisker's eyes misted. "We'll miss your stories." Shrewpaw slid past Tallpaw and stopped in front of Rena. "You were a great den mate." "So you didn't..." Rena's eyes glowed. "So you didn't mind sharing with the roach after all?" Shrewpaw dropped his gaze. Sorry if I was a bit unfriendly at the start." Rena winked. "You're forgiven." Fur ruffling self-consciously, Shrewpaw hurried back to Hairflight's side. Tallstar padded forward with Reedfather beside her. "WindClan wishes you well." She looked expectantly at Tallpaw. He was the only cat who hadn't exchanged words with the roaches. "I hope you can find somewhere to stay," Tallpaw meowed stiffly, "and that you never come back." Tallstar seemed satisfied. She turned to Sparrow. The WindClan where Cantless Moose is on the ridge of great change." She glanced at Hickory Nose and Walltail standing side by side with Mist Mouse and Plumecaw. "If you come again, you'll find a clan no longer divided into more runners and tunnelers, but united as warriors, as strong as any clan." Tallpaw pricked his ears. "If you come again?" Tallstar said if. Perhaps there wasn't room for visiting roaches anymore. Tallpaw waited for Sparrow's answer. Was he going to mention Sandgrass? Surely the roach would acknowledge the cat who had died so that he could look at WindClan's tunnelers. He could look at WindClan's tunnels. Sparrow dipped his head. "I wish you well, all well." Was that it? Tallpaw stared in disbelief. It was as though Sandgrass had never existed at all. Algernon stepped forward, purring. "Thanks for your kindness." Bess whisked her tail. "Let's hope cold season is kind to us all." She turned and began to head down slope. Sparrow followed, Mole and Algernon at his heels. Rena bounded after her mother and fell in beside her. Lily Whisker sighed. Sparrow was a great hunter. She had Shrewpaw and Tallpaw proud. He always made sure the elders and queens had something to eat. "We won't let you go hungry," Tallpaw growled. He watched the roaches move over the grass below. Who knew where they were heading? They were already fading to specks as they neared the thunder path. The wind pulled at Tallpaw as though it wanted to whisk him after them. He dug his claws into the grass. This is my home. He focused on the roaches again. Sparrow's fur was a dark smudge against the grass. Rage surged in Tallpaw's belly. How can you just leave? Sparrow would carry on with his life, unremorseful and unpunished, while Tallpaw was left alone. Tallpaw fought to stop his pelt from bristling. Because of you, Tallstar closed the tunnels. I can never follow my father's footsteps or live the life he wanted me to have. You killed him, then you destroyed his dream and mine. Tallpaw, Dull Spring's gentle mew jerked him back. What? He shook out his pelt, suddenly realizing the grass at his feet was shredded. He sheathed his claws quickly. We're leaving. Dull Spring tipped their head toward their clanmates. They were moving steadily across the moor, like birds crossing the sky. Tallstar headed the flock. Reed feather at her side. Woollytail kept close to Palebird, her pelt brushing from time to time as they padded over the grass. Tallpaw narrowed his eyes. His father's old tongue never seemed to leave Palebird alone now. He ought to make sure his mother didn't mind. Come on! Dull Spring bounded away. Tallpaw plunged after her, his claws thrumming the earth. He slowed as he neared his clanmates, not quite catching up, while Dull Spring weaved among them and fell in beside Stage Leap and Restock. He'd be a warrior soon, then a senior warrior like Carefly. One day he'd be an elder, limping like White Bear and sharing stories from moons ago with his den mates. Above the vast sky stretched toward a distant horizon. The clan looked small and fragile beneath it. Was this it? His life laid out before him like an old story, told again and again through oldless moons. Tallpaw's chest tightened. Suddenly he felt trapped, as though he were in the tunnels once again. Tallpaw, let's hunt! Dull Spring called from ahead. She veered away from her clanmates, doubling back upslope. A racy outlook rock. Tallpaw hurried after her, running faster than the wind, desperate to escape the anxiety that beat inside him on frantic wings. Tallpaw plunged through the gap in the heather and skidded to a halt. The clearing. Flanks heaving, he glanced over his shoulders as Shoepaw burst through after him. Tallpaw flicked his tail. I beat you. I stumbled on a rabbit hole, Shoepaw panted. Shame! Tallpaw headed for the prey heap. He had been training all day and his belly was growling. Flailfoot and Lily Whisker and Flailfoot lay outside the den, basking in the dying sun. With leaffall coming, its warmth was fading. Lily Whisker sighed wistfully. I wonder where Bess and Algernon are now. The den's too quiet without Mole snoring, Flailfoot commented. I hope they found somewhere safe. I hope they found a warm place to shelter, Lily Whisker fretted. The roaches had been gone for days, but the clan kept chattering like birds, worrying where they were and how they'd find enough prey now that the weather was turning. I miss Rena, Shoepaw declared, stopping beside Lily Whisker. Lily Whisker looked up at the apprentice. She'd make a good warrior with the right training. Shoepaw gazed at the moor that loomed up beyond the heather walls. But she'd never give up traveling. Frowning, Tallpaw hopped over the tusks. Rena would never give up eating other cat's prey, or sleeping in the nests that other paws had woven. That would be too much like hard work. He dragged a rabbit from the prey heap and carried it to a soft tusk beside the bracken patch. He liked to eat here. Sandgrass's nest still carried its scent. Stale now, but familiar. He took a mouthful. He saw DawnStripe and Hairflight pad into camp. They nodded to each other as they parted at the entrance. Tallpaw, DawnStripe headed toward him. Your battle moves were lazy today. What's up? Tallpaw stared out of his mouth full. Nothing. Really? DawnStripe narrowed his eyes. You seem to be thinking about something else. You have been for days. With your assessment coming up, you really should be concentrating on your warrior skills. Tallpaw swallowed. I'll try harder, he promised. What did it matter? The clan would go on with or without him, just as it done with Sandgrass. A thought flashed in his mind. We're just visitors, like the Roaches. We arrive, we eat, we sleep, and then we move on to StarClan. The only difference was that the clan cats stayed in one place their whole life. I'll only see heather and grass and sky. Tallpaw felt WindClan's borders pressing closer. Well, Tallpaw suddenly realized that DawnStripe was staring at him expectantly. He had been so lost in thought he had missed something. What? The Moonstone, she exasperated. Aren't you excited? Tallpaw pricked his ears. Are we going? I just told you, DawnStripe's tail twitched. We're going tonight. Finish your meal quickly and go to Hawkheart to get traveling herbs. Tallpaw nodded, feeling hope and spark deep inside him. He was going to see something new after all. In the medicine den, his belly full, he peered around the scooped-out cave. The screen of the grass on the open side made it look dark, very dark, and the jumbled scent of herbs made Tallpaw's nose wrinkle. How could Barkpaw smell anything after living in here? There beside the grinding stone, Hawkheart's mew made him jump. He hadn't spotted the medicine cat in the shadows. In the shadows, Hawkheart padded across the sandy floor, tipping his nose toward leaves heaped beside a smooth white stone at the side of the grouse cave. There were 2 piles. Do I eat them both? Tallpaw asked. You can if you want, Hawkheart grunted, but I wouldn't if I were you. They taste foul, and Shrewpaw might be annoyed that you'd eaten his. Tallpaw's heart sank as Shrewpaw slid into the den. His dark brown, pelty pelt hardly visible in the gloom. He spotted Tallpaw and rolled his eyes. Oh no, you're not coming to the Moonstone, too. You're not coming to the Moonstone, are you? Tallpaw stepped closer, fluffing out his fur. So what if I am? He growled. Hawkheart pushed between them. One day you're going to need to start behaving like clanmates, he snorted. Tallpaw scowled. It wasn't his fault that Shrewpaw was so mean. Hawkheart piled a pile of herbs toward him and pushed the other heap under Shrewpaw's nose. Eat, he murmured and patted from the den. Shrewpaw screwed up his eyes as he sniffed the leaves. They smell foul. Tallpaw dabbed his tongue into the herbs. The bitter flavor made him wince, but he wasn't going to let Shrewpaw see him make a fuss. He laughed them up and spun them quickly, trying not to let his disgust show. Easy, he mewed, and headed out of the den. Barkpaw met him outside. Did you swallow them? His eyes were round. Tallpaw wrinkled his nose and nodded. Once the taste is gone, you'll be thankful for them, Barkpaw promised. It's a long journey. They'll give you energy. DawnStripe and Hairflight were pacing by the entrance. I'd better go, Tallpaw mewed. Try to remember everything, Barkpaw warned. It'll feel like a dream, but I promise it's all real. I'll try. Tallpaw bounded over the tusks and stopped beside DawnStripe. How long will it take to travel there? DawnStripe glanced at the sun, dipping towards the horizon. We have to reach Mother Mouth by moon high. She glanced toward the medicine den and nodding as she saw Shrewpaw heading out. Ready? Tallpaw nodded. As the bitterness of the herbs faded, he felt excitement spark in his belly. He was ready to leave. He was leaving clan territory, and he was going to share tongues with Star Clan. Outside the camp, DawnStripe stopped. The most dangerous part of the journey will be the Thunder Pass, she warned. Do as you're told. She caught Tallpaw's eyes as he emerged from the entrance tunnel. And no bickering. I expect you to behave like warriors tonight. Without waiting for an answer, she pushed through the heather and led the way up slope. On the high moor, a cold wind sliced through Tallpaw's pelt. He shivered as he watched the sun slide down the sky far enough to touch high stones, setting their peaks ablaze. Come on, Hairflight pointed his tail to the moon, already showing the pale evening sky. With the full moon only a few sunrises away, it was almost round and dazzlingly clear. Once the sun had set, it would be brilliant in the night-dark sky. We have to hurry. The brown warrior charged over the crest of the moon and bounded down the steep slope toward the thunder bath. Tallpaw chased after him, his eyes skimming the grass as he broke through the scent line at the bottom of the slope. A thrill surged beneath his pelt. He was outside clan territory. He stumbled to a halt as he pushed past the others. DawnStripe had stopped while Hairflight and Tallpaw padded wearily toward the trail of black stone, cutting across their path. A monster hurtled past them, then another, both bellowing loud enough to rattle Tallpaw's ears. Two more crossed behind them, traveling the other way. Suddenly, the eyes of one lit up, throwing beams along its path. They'd be no use at night hunting, Tallpaw growled as another monster sent yellow rays shooting from its eyes. Prey would see them coming from a whole territory away. Creeping after Hairflight, he narrowed his eyes against the blinding lights. The acrid scent of the thunder path burned his throat. His ears ached from the monster's roars. DawnStripe caught up to him. We have to wait for a gap. She nodded toward a narrow, grass-filled ditch running across the thunder path. Hairflight and Tallpaw were already scrambling into it. DawnStripe followed. Tallpaw jumped down beside her, flinching as the monster sent grit showering over his pelt. He pressed his belly to the ground and shuddered as filthy water soaked his fur, and monster stench rolled over him. Eyes stinging, he stared at DawnStripe. Now what? I'll tell you when to run, she promised. Tallpaw stretched up the far side of the ditch and peered over the edge. Can I go yet? He glanced back at Hairflight. Not till I say, Hairflight reared up beside him to look out. But there's a gap before the next monster, Tallpaw insisted. I can make it. Look both ways. Before Hairflight could finish his warning, Tallpaw leaped up onto the thunderpath and began to race across. Not yet! With a yell of horror, Hairflight pelted after him. Tallpaw's pelt bristled on the far side of the earth. Monster was hurtling toward the young Tom. Tallpaw stopped and stared as its eye beams lit him up like a blaze of fire. Eyes stretching in terror, he gasped the monster. Brown fur blurred as Hairflight hurled himself at Tallpaw. They tumbled away together as the monster raced past, wailing. Did they make it? Tallpaw whispered. DawnStripe was peering over the edge of the path. Her whole body was stiff, her pelt spiked up along her spine. Did they make it? Tallpaw demanded. He scrambled himself up to look. Ears showed in the grass on the far side of the thunder path. 2 pairs of eyes flashed. Hairflight and Tallpaw were staring back at them across the snow. They made it, DawnStripe breathed, slumping down with relief. Tallpaw's heart pounded. It's our turn. He swallowed hard. Don't go until I say, warned DawnStripe. Tallpaw didn't intend to. Standing on Outlook Rock, he'd seen birds peeling fresh kill from the thunder path. He wasn't going to be crow food before he'd seen the world beyond clan territory. DawnStripe's head twitched as she watched the monsters flash past. Then she grew still, her gaze fixed further down the path. She checked the other way. Ready, she hissed. Tallpaw tensed. Ready. A monster sped past one way, then the other. Now! DawnStripe leaped from the ditch. Tallpaw scrambled after her. Just run, DawnStripe yelled, pelting across the hard, black path. Tallpaw's pad stung as he pushed against the stone. It was sharp with grit and grazed his paws, but he kept running, his gaze fixed on the verge ahead. He dived onto the grass, blood roaring in his ears, and skidded to a hole. DawnStripe? He glanced back, relieved to see her panting, a muzzle length behind. Hairflight padded up to meet her. I'll never get used to it, he growled. You'll be quieter on the way back, DawnStripe panted. The monsters sleep at night. Tallpaw tasted the air. The strange scent reminded him of Bess and Rena, and how they smelled when they first arrived. Like stale food and smoke. But he could also smell prey. He ducked beneath a long row of bushes and pricked his ears, listening for the scurrying of tiny claws. Tallpaw! DawnStripe poked her head beside him. Not this way. Disappointed, he trotted after her as she led the way along the line of bushes, turning the path as the path led them up slope. They trekked through meadows of long, wet grass that soaked Tallpaw's belly and chilled his paws until they were numb. The land sloped up, then down, until Tallpaw's legs ached with walking. The stars were shining in a peach-black sky by the time the lush fields gave way to the stubby grass. The land deepened, and the grass turned to stones beneath their paws. Hairflight shook out his fur. DawnStripe paused and gazed across the rocky soil. Tatty heather dotted the slope, clinging to the stony ground with spindly roots. Tallpaw looked up. High stones rose above them, so tall they blocked out the mountains behind. Moonlight washed the rocks like water. He could hear Shoepaw panting and glanced over his shoulder. The young Tom's eyes were clouded with exhaustion. His eyes drooped, shoulders drooping. For a moment, Tallpaw felt a flash of sympathy for his dead mate. But nearly there, he mewed. DawnStripe lifted her golden muzzle and stared up at the slope. Higher up the slope, a hole yawned, square and black. Mother mouth, DawnStripe whispered. Tallpaw scrambled toward the hole, forgetting his tiredness as excitement pulsed in his paws. Stones cracked behind him as Hairflight, DawnStripe, and Shoepaw followed. Tallpaw looked over his shoulder at the valley that stretched back toward the moor. They'd come so far. One clan territory seemed small, dwarfed by the wide star-specked sky. Are you there, Sandgrass? Tallpaw tipped his head back and stared into the sky, searching for for a star that outshone the rest. Can you see me? Come on, Tallpaw. DawnStripe's hushed mew sounded above him. She climbed past him onto a smooth ledge, her moonlit fur bright against the gaping hole behind. She was sitting on the threshold of Mother Mouth. Hairflight and Shoepaw sprang up beside her, nose twitching. Tallpaw scrambled up the last tail length. The ledge was smooth and icy cold beneath his paws. Wet stone scent rolled from the freezing darkness. So this is Mother Mouth. Tallpaw padded from the moonlight into the shadows, his heart pounding as the greatest tunnel of all swallowed him whole. Well, guys, that's the end of Tallstar's Revenge. That's the end of Chapter 21. This story is moving along pretty good. I hope you've enjoyed it. I have been Muse for 23. I apologize about no videos on Thursday. I had play practice. And I still have a few more play practices left. And then videos will continue normally. Comment, like, subscribe, bye. And stay tuned for more Tallstar's Revenge.